So welcome back from break. Let's reiterate what we've been through so far today. We have talked about communication with diplomacy and finesse, creating the image of a professional, powerful communicator, and I can tell everyone is sitting upright, eye contact, all those good things we've been through today. So we're on listening skills that can double your communication effectiveness. So let's look at what y'all think that means. What does listening skills mean to you? Anyone want to throw something out there? Dee?
Well, it's hearing not only the words that people say, but reading their nonverbals as well.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we said earlier about how important that nonverbal communication we have is. Mm-hmm. So reading people's body language, not just their words. Anybody else? What does listening mean? Trisha?
Hearing with an understanding of what you're saying, not just what you want to tell them.
Hearing with an understanding. And why is that important in the workplace?
Because if you're just hearing the words and you put your own interpretation to that, you could be way off on what they're actually trying to tell you.
Okay. So, and that's something we're going to talk about today, about how to paraphrase to ensure that we're actively listening and that we're understanding what our employees and colleagues are saying to us. Mm-hmm. So anything else with listening skills that are effective?
I think that's what we're going to learn in this segment, right?
Okay. All right. So let's look at, you have a sheet in front of you that's called Active Listening Skills in Business Situations. All right, I'm going to give you a minute to talk with your partners, and then I'm going to call on A to choose one that they want to discuss, and then we'll do B's, do one that you want to discuss. So I'm going to give you just a minute to look over it. Okay, so how about someone from our A group? A group, tell me what you think when you look at the list, which of these active listening skills is very important?
I think the distraction one, especially with phones, other electronics, and social media, to just set it all aside so you're communicating.
How many of you have ever been in a situation and someone's looking at their phone or they're texting and you don't feel listened to, right? We don't feel heard.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so removing those distractions, especially if someone is coming to you, and it may be an important to them, right? It's an important topic that they're coming to you and they need help with or they need resolution with. So as leaders in our business, we want to convey that we feel that our employees and our colleagues are important to us. Mm-hmm. And so removing the distractions. What else?
Well, staying focused. This number 5, staying focused on listening as opposed to planning what I'm going to say as soon as they take a breath.
Okay.
Especially if what they're saying is boring.
Yeah, it's easy to tune out. It's easy to tune people out when they're talking. And we're going to talk about that too, about what to do, how to interrupt tactfully when someone is kind of droning on, so we're going to talk about that too. So staying focused, mm-hmm. And we're going to practice that in our next exercise, how to paraphrase using our active listening skills. Someone from the B group, share what you think is important from this.
I like the resist the urge to interrupt when a speaker finishes, pause and ask questions, because there's so many times where you're listening and you have things going on in your mind, questions you want to ask, or maybe people like to share stories.
Okay, so resist the urge to interrupt. Again, I think it's that staying focused. And we want to ask clarifying questions if we don't understand, right? Not make it about us, but make it about the speaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that affirming what they're saying and validating with nods of encouragement and being engaged to that end really helps them be able to get their message out to and to listen.
How about number 2? We alluded to this earlier when we were talking about creating that image. Number 2.
Oh yeah.
That's like what Trisha was saying, like eye contact, nodding, make sure you're not, or we're a really important meeting and the person who I was supposed to be engaged in listening, and it was a really important meeting, was like cleaning her desk. And I'm like, are you even hearing what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Wow.
Had she done this, I think I would have at least felt her. I don't know if I was her, but
And I think it helps the audience too stay focused and in tune if you're making eye contact and nodding your head, so you know that you're paying attention and listening.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I think it goes back to that professionalism. Here you have a leader, the Jerry Ann's talking about a leader, and this leader is cleaning out her desk in the middle of a meeting. That kind of conveys, it's like not professional. You know, you're supposed to set the standards for everyone else. So if you're doing that, then that's going to kind of have this message to your employees, to those like, oh, okay, we can just kind of take it easy and relax. And we want that aura of professionalism. So how about a time when you have not felt heard? What's another time when you haven't felt heard? So we've got someone that's distracted. When I don't feel heard, I'll give you an example, is when I'm talking to somebody and then they immediately jump to another topic. I don't feel validated. I don't, wait, did you hear? Because now we're talking about something else. So I want to do an exercise today where we're going to practice these active listening skills. And I want you, so we're going to have A's are going to go second. So we're going to have B's go first. And they're going to tell a story about something that happened to you yesterday. And then A's, I want you to do a couple of things. I want you to ask clarifying questions. And I also want you to paraphrase. Do you know what I mean by paraphrase?
yes.
What does paraphrase mean to you? Recap?
In your
In your own words. Okay, I heard this, I understand this, this happened. And ask questions. Is that correct? Did I hear you? All those questions to make sure that you're understanding what they're saying. All right, so we'll have B's go first, and then we'll have A's. You're going to paraphrase and be the active listeners, okay?
And these teams are an A and a B in each conversation?
Correct.
Okay.
So Shelby is B, Trisha's B, A is Jerry Ann, D you're A, okay?
No.
Okay.
D, you're A.
D
Thank
you're
goodness
A.
I have my coffee.
So something that happened yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll go first. Yes. Last night, my son was out with some friends, and my husband went to pick him up. When he got home from picking up my son, he, turned on the burglar alarm, and we all went to bed. About 2 hours later, the alarm starts going off, and I was sleeping, so I didn't hear it. My daughter comes running in my room, oh my gosh, the burglar alarm is going off. And my husband went downstairs and shut it off. In the meantime, the burglar alarm system company had called, but I had my phone ringer shut off. So we missed the call. And, so about 40 minutes later, the police showed up in our front door.
40 minutes?
40 minutes! So I'm thinking, what's the point of this burglar alarm? Because we wouldn't be around very much longer if it only took 40 minutes to come. But yes, they did come. It was probably about 3 o'clock in the morning last night. We got a visit from the police.
I thought you were going to say your son snuck out.
Well, I wouldn't say that was not the first time that visit. He's 14, so.
14.
Wow.
Okay. Okay, so I want Jerry Ann and Trisha, before we start, will you give feedback on what you observed with D? What did you notice D was doing as Shelby was telling her story?
First she made eye contact.
Okay, eye contact.
She nodded a couple times.
She was laughing with the appropriate parts to laugh at.
Do you notice Dee's body language too? She's relaxed, but her body is facing Shelby, so there's a sense of, hey, I'm listening, I'm engaged. Yeah, great. Good nonverbal body language, Dee. Okay, so now Dee's going to ask some questions and paraphrase the story.
So that sounds like both a funny and frightening experience. I can't imagine what would happen if my alarm woke me up in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
But your kids are old enough not to have been like just terrified out of their wits.
Right. My daughter was a little, I would say, shooken up.
Okay.
She came into the room first and, you know,
What woke you up?
woke us up. What's that noise?
Wow. Wow. That I can't imagine. But I'm glad everything was okay.
Me too.
And what did the police officer say 40 minutes later when they got there? I mean, they even explained why they were so late.
They did not. My husband was kind of waiting up for them. And so when when the doorbell rang, he went downstairs and he said to them, well, our garage door blew open. It was the door from the house to the garage, so it wasn't an exterior door. And the officer said, okay, good, I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And he left.
Yeah, thanks. Glad there wasn't somebody in here with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. Well, I'm so glad you guys are safe. And that door, you'll just have to, I guess, be sure it's making good contact with the lock.
For sure, we learned our lesson, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Do you guys want to share what you observed with Dee? Like, was she listening?
Questions.
You have questions?
Yeah, I think she's asking really good questions, and obviously pay attention to the whole story because her questions some refer to some points above between. And she empathized.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say.
I feel like Dee
She really
expressed some emotion in there. Wow, that must have been frightening, or that was really scary. How did your children feel? Yeah, so that was a really good way to build that rapport with Shelby. Shelby, how did you feel as Dee was talking with you?
I liked that she was sympathetic and that she realized that maybe it was somewhat scary, but at the same time funny, maybe because of the way I told it. I wasn't acting scared, but instead I think I was using it more as humor, and I think she reacted very well to that, but at the same time I was very concerned with how it affected my family and things like that.
Okay, good. So on the next part of our, went down. So on the next section of our agenda today, we're going to be talking about, so let's use Shelby just as an example, but let's say Shelby had a story and she just couldn't get to the point. Does anybody have any employees that come to you with their problems and we can't get to the point and we want them to get to the point of our story? So in our next portion of today, we're going to be talking about what to do, when to interrupt when someone's in the middle of a story and you want them to just kind of get to the point, right? And so if you struggle with that in your team, and communication seems to be a big problem, I know we're all practicing here today, but we do have resources available that you and your company can use if you're having team issues that go deeper than what we're addressing today in our agenda. So feel free to contact me afterwards and we'll talk about how we can get you some more activities and some more tools for your team. And we've got more resources to help you through that. So let's go to our next portion, which is when to interrupt and how to interrupt tactfully. So I'm gonna